Shalom. Greatmillstone taught me this truth for rule well. Peace and salutations unto the shepherds that feed the sheep. The Heavenly Father Yahawah, which means he to be in the ancient Hebrew, which is the Heavenly Father's ancient Hebrew name, and the only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ, whose real name in the Hebrew is Yahawashi. Yahawashi, which means he to deliver, he delivers. He's coming to deliver the predestined elect of the nation of Israel, which consists of the 12 tribes, so-called Negroes, West Indians, Haitians, Hispanic, Latinos, and Native Seminole Indians, and those who descend from those 12 that are scattered in every nation under heaven, or who have mixed complexions, mixed features, speak different tongues, or even may look like that or resemble that of another race or nation, all right, because of the mixing. But there's sincere Akim, which means brothers, and Agwatim, which means sisters, the extreme few that do listen, all right, which is probably more so now, you know, because of the times we in. But that's neither here or there. Nevertheless, to you, let's say shalom. This is a real quick video.
And the idea is to create a whole new set of laws and ignore existing human rights laws and other laws under the pretext of pandemic preparedness and the biosecurity agenda. The WHO is developing through all its nations, but with the WHO Directorate in the United States in charge, a pandemic treaty and amendments to the existing international health regulations that will remove the human rights protections currently embedded in the IHRs, will enforce surveillance, censorship, get rid of freedom of speech, require governments to censor and only push a single narrative. Also, we will be subject, if they can make this work, to vaccines developed in 100 days, which the organization CEPI is planning to do. And one of the people who founded CEPI was Jeremy Farrar, who is now the chief scientist at the WHO, to bring this forward. Other things that the amendments do is to bind the states so they're no longer recommendations but enforceable edicts, provide a liability shield, get rid of intellectual property rights, move supplies from one country to another, enforce digital passports, and the Director General of WHO can demand that a pandemic or a potential pandemic exists. He can just declare it with no standards, and then countries around the world will have to obey. Also, the WHO will tell you what drugs you can and can't use in your nation once a pandemic is declared. Obviously, the budget will increase. One Health is another part of this. One Health is a concept that was created to enable the WHO, with these documents, to take over jurisdiction of everything in the world by saying that climate change, animals, plants, water systems, ecosystems are all central to health. Also embedded in this concept is a peculiar notion that humans are no longer of greater value than animals.
The repeat of 2019 is on, and that's what it's looking like. Okay, as you heard, you know, throughout the media, there's a slight block on it, but you know, things are, how would you say it, getting a little out of control, which is, you know, part of the agenda, whether it's legitimate or not, but it seems to be. I want to read this. This is Medscape. Okay, this says how the new outbreak in China is hitting clinics elsewhere, meaning nobody's vetting these people that are supposedly from China or coming across the borders. All right, with this new spike in this new disease called I think it's called white lung pneumonia, I believe. All right, it wouldn't surprise me that those who took the liquid pinch stick are the ones coming up with this, or those who have family members or spouses that have taken this, have been around them for years, since they've gotten it. And now you heard of what? The so-called CV, which that's just a term that they use of shedding, okay? That just the people, who have taken this thing, just them breathing, okay, can spread, to others, allegedly, right? So I got to be careful because the algorithm around YouTube says how the new outbreak in China is hitting clinics elsewhere. Okay, and it's going to lead me to something else that took place, which makes sense. All right. Let me see here. Just bear with me. All right, and it seems like mostly children are being affected by this thing. Okay, I don't know about anyone being unalived by it, but they seem to be the main ones who are coming down with this illness, which we've heard, about 2.5 years ago, even by this guy, Kill Gates, as we call him, all right? He was saying that the second one would get everyone's attention. Now, this isn't the extreme one that we know about, but he said that your little ones, all right? You're going to start to see signs of your little ones catching something. Let's just put it that way, all right? And now you have this so-called new disease in China, like in 2019, man. Okay, but then it hit us, I think in March 2020. So this leads me to this article here of what just happened in New York, and that's going pretty much viral, of those who live outside of New York, saying, man, we got to prepare this, that, and the third. Not like prepared like something's coming. It was something that was reversed because it was too draconian. Just the legislation would just, how would you say it? Yeah, draconian. Okay, dangerous. Something to the point where it could strip, you of your human rights. So all your constitutional rights also will be thrown out the window. All right, that piece of paper will be gone. All those fears that people had when them, they pretty much heard it either through their fluff media or even through, alternative media, which is now leaking into the mainstream because they're losing views, right? And all of these doctors coming out, with the Pfizer, the Pfizer company and all that, the myocarditis and all these, athletes dropping and family members. Like I said, I have to be careful with my words, all right? So it's a pneumonia-like virus, they say. Now it's cases in Europe. Okay, I'm just gonna breeze through this. So it says about 15,000 hospitalizations and so that was with the CV, but now the CV could be thrown in there amongst many other things. Okay. Where else? Let's see. They're saying the U.S. is here in the Northeast, and I heard it's in Detroit right now. Mainly the cities of the U.S. They call it a walking pneumonia. That's the other name for it. Okay. So now there's like these spikes of hospital visits and overcrowding, as we speak. So that's what's going on right now. And that leads me to this right here, which viral. It's going around all the social media channels. Now this is it says Senator George Borrello urges Governor Hochul, which is the New York governor, right? It just figureheads, people to place in the seat, but they getting their orders from the top. HW, the who kid, I have to say it like that, to refrain from issuing Rule 213, 2.13. Okay, and this concerns isolation and quarantine, separation of powers. Okay, now let me get into this real quick. Let me see if they have. It really goes into. Just a few things to read. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna read this real quick. It says, Albany, in the wake of the Appellate Division's dismissal of a lower court ruling in favor of let me see, a tower or lower court ruling in favor of the plaintiffs in Borrello, at v. Hochul, Senator George Borrello has penned a letter to Governor Hochul requesting that her administration refrain from issuing Rule 2.13 isolation and quarantine procedures. Okay, now let me go into this quotation here. It says, in dismissing our challenge on the basis of standing, the Appellate Division conveniently sidestepped the important questions in this case about the constitutional separation of powers. Judge Plowitz thoroughly reviewed that issue and ultimately agreed with us, citing the fact that the state legislature had already spoken on the issue of isolation and quarantine orders when they enacted public health law in 2120 in 1953. The question is, why would they lift it at such a perfect time? Why this new so-called bug is spreading? Seems, like wildfire, all right, across the same bases where they supposedly spread it, with the CV back in 2019, 2020. Okay, just the same playbook. So let me continue on. See if it's saying any more. I want to get through the fluff here. Okay, let me go to the next quotation. It says, the administration's win on paper is an empty one without a judgment on the merits of the case. Nonetheless, for us to let this stand unchallenged will pave the way for future abuses of power and loss of freedoms New Yorkers deserve and expect, said Senator Borrello. So something more like what? Medical martial law, all right? That opens the door for it, all right? So let's see, it says the governor's administration can end this now by removing their support for this heinous regulation, barring that we are hopeful that the Court of Appeals will agree that there are profound issues at stake and agree to review this case. Okay, let me see if there's any more. Yeah, I think that's it. So in other words, they're preparing for the true second wave. All right. So I just want to get into that real quick. That we're expecting a lot of things to happen in 2024. Okay, this new wave, this new digital currency, this world war. All right, is going on right now with the naval ships and the Yemenis drones, okay, which is backed by Iran. Things are just heating up to points where you can't reverse it, okay? This is all biblical prophecy, and that's the point. All right, so I have, let me see, probably got 1 or 2 videos. I'm gonna show you at the end, maybe 1 or 2 scriptures, and I'm gonna close it out. All right, so I don't want to make this video too long.
Understand that? Pay attention, America, especially if you live in the city, because they just passed legislation on 2.13. Google it. New York 2.13. This article was published on November 22nd, 2023 by Armstrong Economics, and it was put up on LinkedIn. You guys can find this article very easily. This article on 2.13 is stating that the government now has legal authority to remove residents from their homes and force them into quarantine camps. There is no age restriction. Children can be removed from their homes without parental consent. They do not need to warn citizens when they are coming or how long they must be quarantined. You will be required to take any steps the state mandates, including taking medication against your will. There is no due process, no court hearing, and no rule of law, as the government may now abduct abduct citizens in the name of public health. It goes on to state, you may not even take a test to determine if you are sick. The state has full authority over you and your body. This is one of the most restrictive and oppressive pieces of legislation to pass in U.S. history and nullifies our freedoms.
Why doesn't my
Listen to the powers that they just gave the governor of New York. Just check this out. It'll blow your mind.
It allows the Department of Health to pick and choose which New Yorkers they can lock up or lock down without any proof that you're sick, without any proof you've been exposed to a communicable disease. There's no time limit, so they could lock you up or lock you down for days or weeks or months. There's no location restrictions. They can put you in any facility they want. They can either lock you down in your house, or they can remove you from your house with the force of police and put you into a facility, detention center, whatever you want to call it, that they choose. You would have no say. And then once you're locked up or you're locked down, there's no procedure in this regulation that says how you get out of quarantine once you're in there.
This is real. A federal court empowered New York State Governor Kathy Hochul with the power. Listen to the powers that they just gave.
Yeah, I'm gonna get these two real quick, just straight to the point. This is 2 Peter 3 and 3. Okay, you want to ask why these things are happening? Of course, because the wicked isn't ruling. Signs of being the last of the last days. Matthew 24. Now it says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, talking shit, unbelievers, walking after their own lust. It says, in the same way as the promise of his coming. Now that's mainly concerning our people, all right? Because the top wicked leader, the ruling class, the elite bankers, you want to call them the true originated ones, whatever the case may be, they know what's coming. They see it all day, all the time, all right? That's why they got a space force warning you that they're being visited by craft, all right, that have technology that's far surpasses theirs 1,000 years or more over, okay? And they know the scriptures, all right? They know that Esau, Edom. They know who the nations are. They know who the true Israelites are, okay? So they know why these things are happening. He's just the left hand of the Lord, okay? So the Lord, is showing himself that he's getting ready to return, starting with his men, doing the groundwork, all right? The prophets of old, which are back here in the reincarnation like everybody else is this second time around, Remember this, it's going to go into it. Remember, the Lord destroyed the earth before with water. Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed ancient kingdoms, okay? But now we're in the final kingdoms, on the planet Earth, where be ruled in wickedness by the wicked himself, or themselves. Excuse me. All right? And it said, and the prophet killers, our own people, who gave up their own Lord to the cross. All right, now it says, and saying, where's the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. That's how people think, especially here in the West. They've been conditioned that way. And it says that's why you got the prophets out there warning them. Our elders and apostles going on almost 40 years, 35, over 30 years, all the way down to those to men like myself, going on 12 years, 12, 13 years. Okay? Knowing and then finally, becoming a teacher, teaching these things. All right? And it says, for this they willingly are ignorant of. So you're not innocent. Of that by the word of God, the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water. Okay? Whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished, but the heavens and the earth, which are now, today, by the same word are kept in store, reserved unto fire, the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. Because remember, when the Lord comes back, he's coming to redeem his elect from the four corners of the earth. Okay, so all this hell has to break loose, okay, before he comes to redeem them from that hell. All right, and in the midst of that, you know, his men are going to be exalted with spiritual power. All right, and they've been making movies on it as of late, because the throne of David, you know, some of them have passed, but a lot of them are here on the earth today. And that's what the throne of David was known for, their spiritual power and their rulership over the other nations. Go read it. Okay, those men, those particular men are back. All right, they're prophets, they're teachers, they're helps. Okay, and they're catching all, you know, nothing but hell. But guess what? Like I said, this battle is between the right hand of the Lord through his elect men, and for them to chant down what Babylon, the other nations, and the rulers of those nations. Okay, the elites, starting with Esau and the other heathens, and the one people which the judgment that is to come. All right, so that's the time we're in. And this is 2nd Ezra 8:50. Then I'm gonna close it out. In 2nd Ezra 8:50, it says, "For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world." The latter time, last day is the day, because they have walked in great pride. Okay, the most prideful is Esau, of course. You know, here in Babylon the Great in his kingdoms. You know, that eagle, that's the proudest bird. All right, that's their symbol. But it says, "But understand thou for thyself," this is the angel talking to Esdras, "and seek out the glory for such as be like thee." And who are those that are like him? The elect. All right, starting 144,000, which are all men, and then the men, women, and children that come after, which are part of that great multitude. You know, Revelation 7 chapter. So, like I said, I got 2 videos for you, and hopefully this video is edifying to the elect, straight to the point. Till next time, Shalom, Yahawashi, Yahawashi, Barakatham. Till next time, Shalom.
Have you been sick? Because I've been sick for the last like 2 weeks, and it seems like a lot of people I talk to, throat ache, stomach ache, exhausted. Doesn't matter how much water you drink or sleep get, or how healthy you're eating, or getting a little bit of movement and walking around. It just seems like nothing is kicking this. And I've just been feeling like shit over the last 2 weeks. And a lot of people that I talk to, if not everybody, is either sick, has been sick, or knows somebody that's sick. And I know you're gonna say, oh, it's, you know, it's flu season, it's cold season. It just feels different. It just seems like everybody got sick and is sick all at once, quickly, and it feels like some sort of hybrid type of sickness. I don't know. If you feel the same way, I posted about this the other day. A lot of people reached out saying like, yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on. But it feels different. It just feels different this year.